Alright, y'all. Back at it again, man. Good to see you. But we're here for something serious, right? We're here to unlock or uncover, right? Truths about the dark side of religion. Dark side of religion. Pretty sure you thought your religion had no dark sides to it, right? It's the purest thing on earth. That's why I believes in it. Ta 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 ta. Hey, we're gathered here to you know, figure out where we might be wrong with those kind of perceptions, right? Ain't no such thing as a perfect religion. Every last one of them got a dark side to it. Facts. That's why we're here. Let's find out.
So beware the fun cutting, it's volumes of demise. I hear the sound buzzing, so when she said she wanna die, and he sees she ain't bluffing, so he held her to the skies. Cried sour momentum, passive with goodbyes. I'd rather you tell him, but now the truth is I've digressed from all the feelings, so it's forever though. Like my mama's son missing.
They kill him. Dominoes have fallen, we can't go back to beginning. This existential crisis is the reason I cannot keep competing to keep on living. Back against the world, seeing all your value once you've dealt with all the dirt. Backing up slowly from these diamonds and pearls, quote unquote. Alright, part 2, how religion scammed the world. Right, how religion scammed the world. Yeah, let's just go into it, man.
Began. Slaveholders in the Americas again felt a responsibility to save the souls of the godless primitives, and in the cruel twist of irony, the message of Christianity that the meek shall inherit the earth.
Save the soul. I feel like this one has to be highlighted. The intention was to save the souls of the lost.
Slaveholders in the Americas again felt a responsibility to save the souls of the godless primitives.
Save the souls of the godless primitives. Those were the slave owners. So we saved them by giving them this religion. These godless primitives.
And in the cruel twist of irony, the message of Christianity that the meek shall inherit the earth was tailor-made to serve as a tool of suppression. Because it is much easier for a person to remain in oppression when they've been convinced that in doing so their reward in heaven will be far greater.
Yeah.
How does the church make sense of this?
I kind of attribute it to 3 reasons.
What are those?
One, because the church is made up of humans, and obviously humans are very flawed individuals. And while there are very good people, there are also very bad people. The fact that Judas was part of the 12. I mean, it's...
Talk about that name. Talk about that neighbor, man. Judas? Oh yeah, usual suspect.
very easy to be corrupted because of power, wealth, you know, influence.
And everybody got a Judas in their group. So by the way, just sidebar. Quick little sidebar. You know it.
Whatever you want to think is good and noble.
Well, you've come across
the exact opposite. The second thing is that whenever many people come together, so first individually people are messed up.
Yep.
Then you bring them together.
Yo.
And then now you have a...
Yo, that's exactly what I was talking about when I was you know, trying to illustrate the fact that people do need that higher moral, you know, direction, higher moral power. You know what I'm saying? Because each and everybody, right, individually, subjectively, come from different backgrounds, bro. Different energy made you who you are. You know what I'm saying? So the kind of energy that would, like, we don't share the same intimates, right? Individually, we're so different. We don't share, like, what I may think is disturbing, you may find normal, type of thing. You know what I mean? And so imagine those degrees, those shades of differences amongst the whole collective of people. You know what I mean? There has to be something that says, okay, this is the one forward moving direction that we're going, if we're going to label ourselves civilized human beings, right? For example, killing is bad. We know this. But to someone else who grew up in a family of serial killers, I don't want to keep saying those kind of words because POS. But a kid that grows up there is like, yo, deleting people is normal. It's normal. It's not crazy. That's how we make our living. Oh my bad. Damn. I don't know. I don't know that. To me, it sounds crazy. Look at my reaction. That shit sounds crazy. And so therefore, there has to be that one way, that one moral authority that's gonna be like, you think this, look, this shit is wrong. It's wrong, it's wrong. You do it, it's dire consequence. That's it. Right? And so religion was one of those things where it could snap people into that sort of like grid. Be like, yo, nah, this is the one highest moral, right, wrong, this, that, and the third. So people needed that to govern them. That's why you even get like, yo, pastors, bro, pushing their own agendas, all in the name of, you know, pushing this message at the pulpit or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Now imagine if there was no religion, so to speak, right? If there was no religion, so it's, you know, it's serving some purpose, whether we like it or not, whether people are taking advantage of it or not, right? It's serving its purpose. But now with people like just being people, right? People just being people, right? Shit would not have went right either way. Like if there was no religion to even use to scam people in the first place, like, you know what I'm saying? Like
a collection of good people and a collection of bad apples and bad players.
Yep.
And that gets organized. So you're going to always see the scriptures are clear, weeds and wheat.
Okay.
And some bad people had very good intentions, but they were just a little too broken to see that their decisions or their influence could have deleterious effects.
Oh my God, deleterious.
The third reason is because there are forces that want to destroy the good of the Catholic Church, namely the presence of Satan, evil, the demonic. We forget that we are mystical beings.
We are mystical beings, right? We have to
fight against evil spirits, which wants to destroy the church, which corrupts individuals and communities.
Whether or not you agree with a father's third point, his first and second are definitely right.
Yep.
None of this is to single out Christianity.
Yep.
Indeed, the Aztec Empire, whose culture the Spaniards all but entirely erased, themselves practiced mass human sacrifices in which priests removed the still beating hearts of children.
What? Remove the still beating hearts of... I don't want to repeat the whole thing. You heard it. Isn't that the kind of thing that's associated with the files, bro? No. No. What? Then they sacrificed them? Did they eat them? Oh no. Yo. And this is the kind of, oh my God, this is the kind of stuff that like has, you know, demented people justifying. That's why, oh my God, okay, it's connecting. The whole, yo, the times, those times, I don't know what the freak was justifying people snatching hearts out of the little ones. Like, I don't know what gave them that justification to live that kind of way then, but now, bro, I know you hear the narratives, bro. The J files. The J files. Man, come on, bro, don't make me say it. You hear what you hear what allegedly has been going on there by them islands. Where the fuck would you go to them islands? And then, like, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that's living right now would justify that kind of activity and do it right now. Talk about, yo, the Bible did it. Whoa. It's so idiotic, it's funny. Let me just put it that way. Like, I didn't mean to laugh, but it's like, it's so twisted. It's so twisted. Yo, where's my shit, bro? Oh my god, I made it. Oh my god, what happened, bro? What the hell? Yo. Yo. Oh my god, like my setup just got messed up because of what I'm talking about. Yo, let me fix my shit right quick. Let me fix it. Before, you know what I'm saying? What the hell did I just click, bro? Is it because I'm talking about that island? Is it because I'm talking about that island? No. Shh.
And then there's also the extremely checkered history of Muslim expansion.
Bro, this is spooky.
As is the case with Jesus, there's no clear and indisputable proof that the Prophet Muhammad himself ever expressed any interest whatsoever in spreading his message far and wide, much less forcefully compelling non-believers to accept it or else. And yet, the spread of Islam into places like India was every bit as bloody as Christian colonialism. Muslim expansion into India alone saw a successful conversion of millions, but claimed millions of innocent lives as well, often by use of exotic and especially brutal methods.
Like what?
Contemporary accounts tell us that every Muslim invader worth his salt amassed a literal tower of human souls.
Whoa!
Fittingly, the violent worlds of evangelical Christians and Muslim worlds eventually collided in brutal fashion during the Crusades. Unfortunately, of course, religious conflicts of this nature continue into the present day.
Yeah.
Although the scale of atrocities might have lessened, bloody disputes over control of sites considered sacred by Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike continue today in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Yeah.
Then, as now, it remains devilishly difficult to define which side God really is rooting for.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
For many people, the very word religion summons images of division, conflict, and needless suffering, which is unfortunate because in many ways, which are easy to overlook, religion has often lived up to its promise.
What's that?
Libraries were organized because of the Catholic faith. Yeah. Hospitals, the education system. I mean, just taking critical thinking from the Greek philosophers and bringing it into kind of a systematic philosophy. These are things that the Catholic Church created. We're the largest charitable institution in all of world history. Yeah. We have not only fed more people, but we've actually provided care for all. We've stood up for social causes, whether it be the environment or human rights, and particularly human life.
Yeah. For all the damage and devastation the European world brought to Africa, Christian missionaries like Mary Slessor in Nigeria helped eradicate long-standing traditions of child sacrifice, which was a feature of pre-colonial African religions. Once again, a terrible and very real cost for the lowest of society, all to serve the imagined needs of an unforeseen God, an absent God. Meanwhile, the spread of Islam also brought critical contributions to human society. While pre-Enlightenment Christian West was busy stamping out intellectual and scientific progress, Muslim Arabs, on the other hand, both preserved and even furthered knowledge of science, mathematics, and medicine. However, the rise of radical Islam has led to the suppression of women's rights and intolerance in general. One thing I'll give the Catholic Church specifically though, is that it has undoubtedly taken steps to put its house in order, especially thanks to the late Pope Francis, God rest his soul. He had a refreshingly frank and progressive worldview. However, as the Catholic Church has attempted to put the warts of its past behind it, others have devised ways to harness the power of the Christian faith and the Christian community in ways that would have been impossible to predict even just a few years ago.
Right.
In 16th and 17th century Europe, the idea that certain monarchs ruled by divine right started to take hold. The notion that kings were handpicked by a society's resident deity is far older, of course.
What do you mean?
You can find it in ancient Hindu texts and in the god kings of ancient Egypt, where pharaohs were worshipped as living deities. As Christianity rose to dominate Europe, so too did this belief that royal bloodlines were chosen by God himself. Well, there was no proof. There could be no proof. But once the claim was established, disagreeing with a monarch or even questioning them became equivalent to challenging God himself. Religion's power was no longer just about salvation.
What was it about?
It was rerouted and weaponized to serve the interests of the powerful few over the powerless many.
Damn.
Although no American president has ever been bold enough to claim themselves as God's anointed.
I am the chosen one.
Is that why when they anoint themselves, right, when they become anointed or, come into positions of power, they get sworn in with the Bible? They get oathed in, like, with the Bible? I don't know how to put it, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Well,
you put their right hand on the Bible and the other hand on, wherever.
Correctly, anyway. Christian nationalism, the idea that Christian ideals are superior and ought to drive a nation's politics, is evidently on the rise both in the US and elsewhere. Although one of the bedrock features of America's foundation is having no official state religion, many prominent Republican politicians, like current Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, now openly cite the Bible as the be-all and end-all of their own personal and political beliefs.
Someone asked me.
Yeah, they married that shit into politics, bro. Right? That was the whole complication of the thing.
Today in the media, they said, it's curious. People are.
That's how people made it complicated. They were opening it up for it to. They were grooming religion so that it becomes a scammer.
Curious, what does Mike Johnson think about any issue under the sun? I said, well,
I'm not saying all of religion is scammy. Don't get me twisted, please. But the scammer nature of it, right?
Go pick up a Bible off your shelf and read it. That's my worldview.
I want to always separate what people have done with faith politically. In America, we call it Christian nationalism.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that because that's a term that I wouldn't use to describe myself. I'm a Christian, but I'm also patriotic. I came to this country as an immigrant. But my faith has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with just being able to respect what I believe.
Yeah.
You might assume the Bible itself argues for the rule of Christian law on earth, but in Dan McClellan's view, it has little or no basis in Scripture.
I don't think there's a legitimate biblical argument to make for Christian nationalism. I think there is an argument to make, but it's a pathetic and a laughably stupid one, unfortunately. Christianity, I think, frequently tries to cast itself as the victim because that's how it finds itself in a lot of these biblical texts, and particularly I'm thinking of Revelation, where the big bad Roman Empire.
Yeah, and here's what I think too, right? With the whole religion talk, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh my god, it keeps you in this perpetual cycle of victimhood, right? Because or of inferiority, let me put it in that way, right? Where you constantly gotta feel inferior, right, to this superior being, the superior power that has, eternal, everlasting power over you, absolute power over you. Where the idea is to keep yourself, because think about it, bro, for as long as the perfect thing that's worshipped, right, for example, for it to remain perfect, it has to be contrasted by people who are not perfect worshiping it, right? Because if everybody was perfect, we wouldn't need this perfect thing to worship because everybody's perfect. So the idea or the psyop in all of that is you constantly got to see yourself as the inferior being. That's why I was emphasizing the whole point of knowing thyself. You know what I'm saying? That frees you from even relying on things like religion. I feel like religion can be used as a tool. You know what I'm saying? A tool of governance, bro, like organization. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping people in check, keeping people accountable, keeping people on a right path, like, for lack of a better term or expression. But, you know, the whole thing where it does keep you in that perpetual cycle of inferiority. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always need, for it to continue to exist, there always need to be, you know, receivers of its power who feel inferior. There always has to be that portion of people that believe, yo, I cannot do anything good by myself. I need something higher. Now, other people, you know, they may put this kind of power in whatever entertains them, whatever makes the most money. Hello, my capitalists out there. May put this power on things that you end up being addicted to, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Is oppressing the plucky little band of Christ followers. And so, because the end times are supposed to be this story of the little guy, the David against the Goliath, the demonic forces of evil. But we're the Roman Empire now. And so we've got to find oppressors. But we don't have any. If you look around, we don't really have oppressors. We have the victims of our own oppression, and that's who's being identified by Christian nationalists as the oppressors. They talk about, again, LGBTQIA communities are primary among them, but immigrants, you know, we've now developed a concept of race as a question of skin color, and so non-white folks get to be in that as well. And, you know, white cis hetero males are the most powerful group in the nation, but we try to pretend that we've been victimized by everybody out there that we're just stomping all over.
Oh shit.
And so I think there are ways to leverage parts of the Bible to defend that and to validate that, but I think it's being done in insincere and harmful ways. If we leverage Revelation and try to say trans women are possessed by Satan and they're going to try to destroy Western civilization and all,
and we weaponize the thing now.
All this, it's trying to cast a tiny minority of folks who are overwhelmingly vulnerable and oppressed as the big bad empire that's coming to get us, and we need to protect ourselves. And so that's just phenomenally insincere. So
Christian nationalism always frames the world in a stark existential terms, us against them. And in societies where inequality is rising, where financial safety nets are collapsing and the rich are getting richer faster than ever before, a dangerous reality begins to set in, that there isn't enough to go around. In that kind of world, it becomes crucial to align yourself with a winning team. I believe this is the real story behind the graph I showed at the start of this video. When the few who hold the wealth claim it as their godly inheritance, it's hard to convince the poor otherwise, especially when they can see with their own two eyes that no amount of effort will ever lift them to the same heights. What they mistake for God's favor, however, it's not.
Oh shit, the idea of even using the scripture of, like, you know, multiply and inherit the earth, you know what I'm saying? Multiply and have dominion, right? Have dominion over the earth. You know what I'm saying? Obviously the rich get richer, and once they accumulate a whole bunch of shit, right? AKA even land. You know what I'm saying? Once they accumulate, they can, you know, fighting for it legally or whatever. That's their fighting, they're conquering, having dominion, like winning the land over. You know what I'm saying? And the poor, look at the poor, bro. They don't have power to fight back. So they have no choice but to just like sit back and take that cause. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, scripture now justifies the whole thing. And now the fact that people have made these sacred scriptures, you know, the highest moral code, their highest moral code, their authority. Hello. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's God telling them to do that. Like, this is God telling us to inherit the land. Go crazy and just, like, you know what I'm saying? Pull up, rule over, like bully the whole scene damn near. Maybe. Shit. what I'm saying? By hook or crook. Because there's, you know, you get to a point where like, yo, you can't snatch any more of this shit. Like, where's the poor people gonna go? And at that time, you know, the poor got their backs against the wall, and it's a whole now it's like civil war type shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, this is me just like speculating on the whole shit, and that's where probably things like unrests come from, right?
Not divine blessing at all. It's late-stage capitalism doing exactly what it was designed to do. When there seems to be no way to make it in a world filled with inequality, it becomes even more tempting for people to put their faith in a magical, all-powerful entity, one that's associated with prosperity, in the hopes that he will include you in the chosen ones to be saved if only you give him 10% of your income. It's the same reason most people who play the lottery are poor. The belief that God will step in and take care of you isn't no different from buying a lottery ticket. If you don't have conventional ways to build wealth, if the system is already rigged against you, the odds may be long, astronomical even, but for many, it's the only shot they have to escape absolute poverty.
For example, Latin America used to be completely a sort of Catholic place where, you know, traditional Catholicism was the sort of standard religion, and is turning more and more towards forms of evangelical Protestantism, many of which have this prosperity kind of perspective, who say you can do things and it depends on you and it's about you and it will get better. And by it getting better, you will show that God, you know, has a special sort of, you know, affection for you.
It is a well-established fact that as countries move up the socio-economic ladder, the rates of religious practice drops accordingly. In the US, for example, in the 1990s, around 90% of the population identified as Christians. But that number was on a steady decline until recently, when you guessed it, the income inequality started to increase drastically. Damn. Now there are all of these mega churches and giga churches packed to the gills with thousands of attendees every single weekend. To say nothing of all the preachers collecting their donations to the tunes of tens and even hundreds of millions of dollars.
Whoa.
You even have young Jersey men turning back to Christianity, but not the one of the Bible that teaches.
Wait, are these churches still not taxed? They doing this whole thing tax free?
You to be meek and says the rich should give up everything they have to follow Jesus. No, these are entrepreneurs who talk about how Jesus teaches you to be hardworking and how God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills and has given it to them for an inheritance. They are, you could say, the children of the Christian nationalist megachurch prosperity gospel mindset. For the first time in recent history, Christians can be part of the cool crowd, and no one pulled off the cool crowd quite like Hillsong.
Yeah.
My name is Noemi Uribe, and I was a former Hillsong member and leader.
Noemi Uribe grew up in the church. You might say it's the family business.
So I grew up in a apostolic Pentecostal church, very strict, very conservative.
Hold on. I think this story might want us to go to the word for the sponsors first, man, because I don't want nothing to disturb this. Because, you know what I'm saying, we gotta pay these bills, bro. So let's go, straight to the word from our sponsors, and we'll shall be right back. Hold on. I told you something wrong happened with my shit, bro. Like, I can't even, you know what I'm saying, can't even seem to do the right thing. Alright, cool, we'll be back, man.
Listen, ain't no telling, do they love or did they kill him? The dominoes have fallen, we can't go back to beginning. This existential crisis, the reason I cannot keep competing and keep on living. So it's back against the world, seeing all your value once you dealt with all the dirt.